Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 173. I'm your host as always. I'm Dan, and I'm joined by Kendrick Lamar himself. No, sorry, it's Samson. Sorry. Samson, how you doing?
Well, pretty good, other than my trying to get 173 on the two hands there. That was a complicated one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I got 3 on one hand, but I left the other hand open, so it was just 8.
Yeah, it was just a disaster, but never mind. Not many people watch the video.
Thank God.
Podcast. It's mostly on listeners, so it's absolutely fine.
Well, Dan, outside that,
yep,
things are going quite well. Been playing a lot of Quake lately, and we got a Quake game coming up this weekend. So when we get into housekeeping, we'll get more into that. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I obviously spoke last week on the podcast episode that I had a arm injury. That's still not great. It still hurts. So VR is kind of a minimal at the moment. But yeah, not too bad. Enjoyed the Super Bowl. It was a bit of a crazy match. I love the halftime show.
Halftime show was probably the best part. Not a great football game. It was just blowout.
Yeah, I thought it was a great first half because it was fun. It was just like, wow, I can't believe what's happening. No one would have predicted that. So, don't worry, everyone who's listening who's not sports fans. We will move on very, very quickly here.
Sport ball.
But Samson, obviously, you got to. I don't know if you want to publicly announce it, but you're getting a new little puppy, a new little dog rather. I guess 3 years old, right?
Yeah.
Although the dog looks like a puppy because it looks tiny.
Yeah, she's quite small. She's about 15 pounds.
What breed is this dog?
Oh, God, Dan.
Is it a mixture?
Put me on the spot here. She's a mini something. I think it's the Australian Shepherd.
Well, Samson, we always start the episode off with a bit of housekeeping. So if you join the Discord, which is absolutely free with the link below, you can go see an image of Samson's puppy when he posts it. Though we do have like a dog channel, I'm pretty sure. Or no, unless you were thinking of making a dog channel.
Yeah, now we've got to make one. Now we've got to do it.
Now we've got to make one. We've just announced it basically. But I'm sure...
In fact, by the time you hear this, it exists.
Yeah, it exists. So yeah, Samson's getting a new dog, which is very, very fun. I'm sure dogs love snow, and there's going to be a lot of snow around. So... I'm sure she'll be hopping in there.
There'll be a bit. She currently lives in upstate New York in Albany, so she's definitely used to the snow.
She's used to it. If you love us so much, send us $1 or so at Patreon. Samson, we did get 2 new patrons this past week or past 2 weeks.
Dan, we're getting pretty big time.
Yeah, we're getting pretty big time. Yeah. Samson, who are the 2 new patrons?
Dan, do we name them? What do you mean?
We can name them.
Okay. Well, friend of the show, Noble Squashy, is now a Patreon member. So actually, he can now read everything that's being said in the Patreon channel.
Yeah, I guess so. He's now in it.
So, yep. He now knows all the things that we were previously talking about him behind his back. Now they're in front of his face.
Yep.
Unfortunately. And the other is a thank you to in the Discord, Jammy,
yeah. Really appreciate it. Thanks for helping us out, and thanks for your support. And obviously, if you want to just throw us $1 or more, if you throw us $5 or more, you'll get the show early. But just throw us $1 or more, and you'll be in the Patreon only Discord channel as well. And obviously, we'll shout you out like we just did here.
Come join us in our talking about Noble Squashy in front of his face.
Absolutely. Samson, we also get a lot of comments generally. People can comment on the YouTube channel when they just watch this on the video version. They can comment on Discord, obviously. There's a questions channel. They can send me an email at letstalkoculus@gmail.com.
Dan.
Yeah?
There's an episode discussion channel on the Discord as well. There's some good talk there.
There's a good plug there as well. And also, which is mostly the popular one right now, is the Spotify comments. I think less than half of our listeners on Spotify, but the comments they're going crazy. I mean, they have a comment feature. You can't really comment on Apple, which is a big misplay, to be honest. But we got a new comment, Samson, by Matt, who's commented a few times on the show. He said,
Thank you, Matt.
He said in regards to last week's episode, another wonderful episode, he liked both of our game ideas. I just want to point out that was a bit of a cop-out answer, Matt. You should have chose one. You can't just say you like them both. I need a definitive answer.
Well,
Who
they were both pretty
had the
good.
best idea? I need to win the competition. Anyway, he says, I'm looking forward to joining a Thursday Walkabout game, which we'll talk about in a second. Picked up Fitness Fable. It's been a fun workout game. Cheers. Well, first of all, thanks, Matt, for sending a comment. Fitness Fable, that's the one that I should have got on the show. It came out very recently, and it looked much better than the I think Shardfall was the one that I actually played, but I think now I can't really do any of that, so I'll have to give it a miss for now, but maybe in the future. Yeah, maybe in the future. Samson, Matt mentioned something about this Thursday Walkabout game. What is he talking about?
Well, he's talking about how you, myself, and Cobalt Dave played a game of mini mode Walkabout last Thursday, and we're playing again this Thursday. And hey, Dan, guess what? We're going to play the Thursday after that. All at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
A great time.
Yeah. Last time, we'll play at least an hour. So I imagine sometimes we'll play 2.
Yeah.
You know, depending how many people are there, you know, what's going on, who shows up. Maybe we'll do some slingshots. Maybe.
Well, you took me down to the tunnels because I've never been in the tunnels before on the back.
I did. How'd you like the tunnels? You move slow.
Yeah, dude, because I have my fly over, whatever you call it, set to whatever the default is. So it goes slow. You go fast. You go super fast. You must be at max.
Mine's the default max.
Yeah, I need to change that because that took me a while to just get downstairs. You know, it felt like I just didn't have any legs, to be honest, and then I was crawling down there.
It would have been faster if you teleported, I think.
I think so. But you took me to Shangri-La, and you got me the hidden portal into Shangri-La, I should say. Or
yeah,
so.
We found the door.
We found the door. Same with, what was the other one that we did? We did one more. I can't remember what the other one was, but I forgot. Is it Curity Valley?
Veltus. Yeah.
Yeah, Curity Valley as well. That was the other one we did. Really cool. If no one knows about this, or some people don't know, there's just fly over the hut at the start of Walkabout and go underneath it, and you'll see that there are some hidden rooms and such, and there's all sort of
back rooms.
There's some sort of lore going on, and I'm sure they're going to develop this whole area in the coming year or so, which is really cool. But anyway, let's talk about what our Walkabout was on Thursday, though. So we did mini mode, which was the brand new mode, which came out of nowhere. They announced it just after we filmed the podcast last week, and basically, I think from like Holidays Hideaway, where you're really small, they've kind of brought that mini mode into 3 courses: Laser Lair, Bogies Bonanza, and Venice. And with that, you're obviously super small. So your putter is super big, and also the gravity is slightly different as well. They've got like different gravity on these 3 courses as well. And
but
you can see it too.
The gravity is not the same as low gravity mode. That's important to. I feel like the ball is more dense.
Yeah, I hit it a lot. A lot of my shots were soft for sure.
Yeah, you had to hit it. You had to give it more oomph to hit it.
Yeah. It was fun though. We did Bogies Bonanza, and some of it didn't like it. It kind of looked in a way a bit the same, but then some of it really.
Till we hit the stairs.
Crazy. Yeah, the rocks. Right, it was climbing up the stair rocks. Massive. It was like climbing up a mountain.
Yeah.
And some of the holes are like I didn't play this back without mini mode, but I should have, to be honest. But some of the holes did look pretty crazy with mini mode on because of the scale, and I feel like you'll feel so big when you're in normal mode now. Mini mode seems to be the way, apart from the big ball. How did you like it?
I very much enjoyed it. It felt it gave you a new perspective on the course,
Mm.
and especially in the putter. You could see so much detail in the putter. It felt brighter. It felt more colorful. It was great. I
Well, I
loved
mean,
it.
you were rocking the 8-bit layer putter, right?
100%. That's all I use now.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you, Edward, and sorry for stealing your putter now. I hope you probably have a new one now, though.
Yeah.
And it gives you a whole new perspective also on the course, right? Like you're seeing the course in so much more detail.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I like it.
I like it too.
It did trigger a bit. Like I think by the end of it, I was feeling it. Motion sickness.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't feel that. I just knew I did not do well this time.
I putted. I think I putted pretty well.
I found it very tough, to be honest, to kind of judge the speed. But I feel like it's one of those where you play it once and you're like, okay, I understand it now. I can do it again. Did you manage to jump into any of the other courses at all?
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, fair enough. I feel like Laser Lair could be kind of fun.
That is the next one I want to try.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll try it this Thursday.
Maybe. If we do, I'd say maybe 9.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 easy, 9 hard. Something like this.
There might be up to 6 people who are interested in this Thursday, so it could be a bigger group.
Who knows?
It could be a bigger group.
Oh wait, do you know? Have you seen? Did you check?
I did look. Yeah, I did look. All right, Samson. Let's. Anything else? Any housekeeping before we get into VR news? Anything else?
Well, Dan, February 15th, Saturday, the day after Valentine's Day, we're going to be making love to Quake 3 VR. Okay.
What a weird thing to say. Nice.
I had to play on Valentine's Day.
You didn't have to say making love. You could be just. Yeah, okay. Continue.
Well, that's what it feels like when you're playing this game because it's sweet. It feels so good.
Yeah, you love
this game is great. Yeah, it works with B haptics too, so I'm going to try that
cool.
this Saturday. So if you're out there, 9 p.m. this Saturday, Eastern time, go find the VR servers, and whichever one has people in it is probably the one we're playing in.
Yeah, absolutely. Or go on the Discord and such. We will talk about it more, obviously, in part 3 when we get into what we've been playing, because I'm really interested to hear about your experience. But I feel like you've played a lot of this.
I've played about 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. No motion sickness?
No, none.
Nice. Okay, sweet. Let's go into some news stories. We have 4 news items to discuss here. First of all, speaking of the game that we were just discussing, on X, formerly known as Twitter, John Carmack, who is actually the co-founder of ID Software or id Software.
Definitely id.
I was pretty sure it's id. Yeah, after I said it, I was like, I was definitely wrong. id Software. I forgot that he kind of helped develop Doom, which is and that Quake and all that stuff, kind of like it with that kind of team. I completely forgot about that. But anyway, he said that he tried to allow the Team Beef ports on the official store when he was working for Meta, and he said he personally guaranteed to Microsoft that they'll make $1 million in sale. But it was still too much, too small, rather.
Too little, yeah.
Yeah, for them to bother with. So he said he tried. He thought, he said on the tweet, he said he thought he was getting close, but unfortunately, they didn't really want to see it. Now, if they didn't have it, like id Software still had the rights to it. So id Software was like bought out by a specific company.
ZeniMax.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think that's right. And then they were acquired by Microsoft. So obviously the rights were like passed on. But if the rights were still at id, or like obviously maybe at ZeniMax too, maybe you would have been able to get it. But
and I just don't get it, Dan, because Microsoft wants to bring all their games to all the platforms.
Right.
VR's a platform, Dan. VR's a platform.
And they didn't need to do any work because Team Beef would have done the whole ports for them.
That's 100% right. It's all profit, basically, right? I mean, yeah, I guess it's probably
mostly.
All profit.
I mean, they could sell. Go on.
Might I recommend the book Masters of Doom? I believe it's called, and it's all about the history of Doom. And obviously, Carmack is a prominent role in that story.
Masters of Doom. Oh, you should put this in our book channel, which we have on the
You're right.
Discord as
You're
well.
right. It's been years since I read it, so it's usually people are putting what they're currently reading.
Yeah, that's true. Masters of Doom. Oh, that's very cool. But yeah, obviously for people like us and such, it's not too much of a big deal. Obviously, there's more friction to try and get the game and such. But for the average consumer, they'll probably never play these type of games because of how difficult it is to, well, not difficult, but like you have to jump through hoops, right? To kind of get it on your Quest, and it's not just in their face. Instead, lots of Horizon stuff is in their face, and we'll discuss that later in part 2. But yeah, a shame, but it's cool to hear the background that you actually did try, because it sounded like the Team Beef ports were just getting unnoticed just because maybe the meta just can't acknowledge them and such. But they're such an important part of the Quest lineage, shall we say. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Never mind.
There you have it.
Moving on, a pretty massive news story for a lot of people. Civilization 7 is coming to VR, especially coming to the Quest 3 and Quest 3S, actually. No news on Quest 2 or anything like that, or any other VR headsets for that matter. So 2K and Firaxis Games, who is the publisher and developer there, announced it at the Civ World Summit, where they obviously announced it. I forget, I should have wrote it down, but I forget the developer who's going to actually port this game into VR. But it's coming out real soon, actually. It's coming out this spring. No actual release date, but probably March. Gone.
You think March?
I think like end of March, yeah.
Why do you think March?
I don't know, because spring and March sounds like to me, but it could be April, it could be May.
Dan, I was going to say spring does. June is when summer starts.
Yeah, fair enough. So it could be any of those.
It could be. I'm thinking this is going to be in June.
Yeah, that makes sense. As long as possible. But for some reason in my head, I just think, yeah, it'll come out March because that's when spring starts. So spring, yeah, March.
Yeah. But are you a Civilization guy?
Never played it. I know of it big time because obviously it's like, I think it's one of the biggest PC games. And I was big into Age of Empires when I was a kid. Really liked me some Age of Empires 2, a little bit of 3 as well. And then some games as a kid, like Roller Coaster Tycoon, those kind of things I used to play. Obviously, it's still in a way a strategy game, but obviously nothing like Civilization. So yeah, I've not played it. I think there's another game similar to it called Total War or something like that. I'm pretty sure. My dad was into that one. But yeah, never Civilization.
Are you excited about this? You think you'll try it? Does it matter on how much it costs?
I don't know. I think I am just one of the odd ones out here because I like the odd strategy game. Don't get me wrong, but Civilization seems like a big, a huge ass strategy game. Like I'm the type of guy who's like a strategy game that I can go in and out of. That's why I really like Age of Empires, because you could really just have that as like a 3-hour experience and have a good time.
Well, you think it'll be longer, because I do understand that they are longer than that, right? But a headset's battery is, so they'll just expect you to go through several batteries.
Yeah, that's true. And you could probably save the game and such. I mean, it's hard for me to say because some people who are listening to this are probably screaming at us right now because I don't know. I've never played this game, right? And do you know much about Civilization at all?
I don't know. I don't know much about Civilization at all. I've never. Yeah. I don't think I've ever played. I've watched a friend play before, but I've never played myself.
Yeah, and I know Civilization 7 came out with a lot of like mediocre to bad reviews just because of like bugs and issues and such like that.
That's sort of why I think it's June.
Yeah, it's come out with a lot of bugs and issues. In fact, I'm just Googled it now, and it's just come out. It's literally just come out today as we're recording. So yeah, there's a lot of bugs. Apparently, it works on the Steam Deck decently as well. But anyway, with the actual game, obviously, apologies that we don't know much about it. There's some more people in the Discord, I'm sure, who know more about it and such. And there's other places that you can hear more about it. But just to show you what it is, they've released like a full trailer which kind of tells you most of the game, and it kind of is like, imagine Demio in terms of a tabletop. Okay, obviously different game, but like imagine that, where it's going to be, you can put it on your desk and you can do it mixed reality or VR. What's really cool about it as well is that depending on the like person that you choose, your VR room kind of changes to their
aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. Which is really fun. But then I think if I was to play this game, I think I'd play it mostly in mixed reality, to be honest. I think it's a cool idea to have it, like I'm thinking
it is.
Go
ahead.
I was about to say, I was just thinking in my Age of Empires brain, like I would thinking of that, having that on the tabletop whilst you're doing your moves and all that stuff, and hunting for your rock and your gold and such. It'll be really cool to see. So I think this would be really fun for Civilization players.
I like the multiplayer aspect, how they take on their avatar, whoever they are historically. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, up to 3 players.
It's kind of gimmicky, I guess, but it's a cool gimmick.
That's what VR is all about, these little tiny gimmicks, and I'm all for it, to be honest. I'm all for it. Yeah. I'm interested to see how it will look on mixed reality. Like, does it look good?
I'll keep my ear to the ground, and try and hear. I probably won't play it right off the bat. Maybe I will. I don't know. If my friends convince me to play it, I could be convinced to play anything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued just because this is such a big deal, and I think this is actually just a headset seller for a lot of people as well, as how big this game is. But I think you gotta be. Yeah, I think if you're maybe most of the people who have that have a headset already, to be honest. But
I think Civilization is a niche game.
Yeah, I think it's a niche, but in a more like it's big for like the 30-plus-year-olds, to be honest, if that, because I think it's such a big game for the older crowd, or people. I don't want to say older, like we're in 30s as well, but like it's just that kind of crowd. Like there's no younger people probably playing this, or not as much, shall we say?
How much do you think it costs?
$55.
So you think it'd be about the same as the?
So that's 55 Canadian, so about $45. Yeah, okay. USD, 45.
So do you think it'll be cheaper than the flat screen version?
Yeah, unless they're doing there's no indication so far that they're doing like crossplay between the flat screen and the VR version, and there's also no indication that.
But it's the same game.
It's cross-buy either. Yeah, apparently, but we don't know that. If it's obviously cross-buy and such, yeah, it'll be the same price.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be cross-buy or whatever, but I also hesitate to say that it'll be the same price at $70 USD.
No, I think it'll be like 50 or 45.
Yeah, I am curious what it comes out at for sure.
I think it'll be the tops at the highest like price in terms of like like Batman and Arizona Sunshine 2 and Alien, for example, that's coming out this week actually. I think it'll be that price. It'll be that much. It'll be as much as they can, to be honest. And I think a lot of people would buy it for it. But for an older crowd. I also just want to mention something really cool. They feature a room called the Archives, which is like a glorified achievement room. So you can go in and kind of like interact with the achievements that you get from the actual
that's cool.
Game, which is really cool. Yeah, I'm more intrigued to see what the graphics are like, to be honest, because sometimes in mixed reality you have
hard to tell.
You have some of the issues, like Lego Brick Tales. Yeah, exactly. And I think that really takes you out of it, to be honest. So I'm intrigued to see how it goes. But another one as well, it's only for the newer headsets, so we'll see. I think it'll sell well. In VR standards. Not Batman's VR standards, but
I'm not making that prediction.
I think it will sell well for VR, but yeah. Anyway,
I won't go so far as to say it won't. It's going to do really terribly, but I don't think it'll do really well.
Fair enough. Okay, moving on, since we don't really know much about it.
But wait, hold on, Dan. Before you move on, I will say, if Zuckerberg liked Quake 3 as much as he likes Civilization, it would be on the store.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Because he got that picture of him, right, when he was a kid playing Civilization 1 or 2 or something like that.
He's talked about it all.
He's talked
Yeah,
about it all the
it's one
time.
of his favorite games. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's huge. It's huge. So yeah, massive for him. Um, okay, moving on. An interesting one, just because we've talked about it over the past few podcast episodes. We talked about it with Reese with Games of Tea when we had him on the show, and we talked about it when we had our Horizon OS issues and all that stuff. Meta's finally responded to the VR developer concerns over discoverability and sales, which is a lot of developers have reached out, or not reached out, have posted on Twitter especially and other outlets that they're kind of really annoyed about the store in terms of how it doesn't really show their apps as much. Obviously, there's a lot of Horizon stuff. When you search, it will search for stuff that you don't own and whatnot. Golf Plus has been very vocal about that, but also a lot of other people have been quite vocal about that who are developers. So Samantha Ryan, VP of Metaverse of the Metaverse content, claimed that people spent more time, on average on their Quest 3S devices than any other headset on launch. Total payment volume on the platform rose 12% into 2024 and driven by significant growth of in-app purchases. They also talk about there's a big ass article that they put out. It's basically kind of defending it and also just looking at what their like store model is going to be like moving forward and such. But I just found a few things that I just kind of want to mention. So obviously that, and also they say something how like free to play is like very important thing for them. So they say young people are the clearest example of the trend. They make up a growing share of users. We are building a social first platform, and these younger users are more likely to spend time with their friends and multiplayer experiences and social hangout apps. They're contributing to the rise of free-to-play titles. We're also seeing a growth of younger users in Horizon Worlds. This shift signals a growing opportunity for new business models. We expect free-to-play to become a broadly viable strategy for developers. They say also that they don't expect it to replace premium apps, but they think both models are likely to coexist.
So Dan,
Yeah.
this is essentially like how Synth Riders Cluj also makes Horizon Worlds, right? So they have paid apps, but they also have the free to play apps, right? Is that sort of what they're saying?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Or I don't know if that's just Horizon Worlds, but also just free to play games in general. That's what they're kind of saying. But the interesting part thing is the fact that we're building a social first platform. It's the first time they've actually really come out and said it, and we can all see that from all the Horizon Worlds stuff that's right in your face when you go into it and such. It forces you to make an avatar and all that stuff, and the store is very Horizon World first, and then everything else kind of second and such. It seems like the only worry here, what I'm looking at, is worrying that the Meta App Store ends up like the Google Play Store, like the Apple App Store, and all of these kind of stores, which kind of end up being a lot of like it starts off really very interesting. Obviously, it's more of a curated list, but then it ends up being a lot of freeware, a lot of junk like that, and a lot of like half baked things in general. And that's the worry. Like you go on the App Store now, and you're not really going on it and to search for stuff, and you're just like actually searching because you know what you want, or you're on Apple Arcade with their subscription service, which feeds you some more curated stuff. But no one's really going in there and going, oh, let me see the top 30 apps now, and kind of going through. It's kind of like there's too much stuff in there now, and obviously, and that's always going to happen with app stores. But also companies can depends on what they're pushing, and if they're pushing social first and they're pushing free to play and such, then that's what's going to end up dominating the market and such. So great for younger people who are into that, shall we say, or people who want to do socializing in there, but not so great on people who are wanting more stuff like Batman and Civilization and such like that.
Well, Dan, I agree, and I'll hold on to more of my thoughts to their main topic.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And also, one other thing that I just wanted to pull out from there, they do talk about software improvements. They say our ongoing operating system improvements, such as multitasking, theater mode, and immersive audio, are intended to support this growing customer cohort. And in 2024, we saw a 10% increase in overall time spent per user per month in media apps, as well as a 21% rise in the browser. And then they talk about the Amazon app as well. So big numbers, but those numbers, what they say, those numbers can only get much bigger when they finally like put out a proper theater app that you can watch movies on. When they try and get more deals with people like Amazon Prime to try and get more streaming services, like it makes sense with the numbers, which is great. But as we've had a whole episode talking about this, they need to really look at the little things.
Well, it's just gotten more comfortable, right? So people can stay in the headsets longer.
Yeah, that adds it. That makes a big difference. Hardware as well, for sure. But yeah, it's an interesting article. If you go on Meta's blog, I believe it's on there. And it also there's an Upload VR article about it, which they've also pulled some stuff from it, but you can also click a link through there and see the article. But it's an interesting one. I'm definitely interested to hear the listeners' thoughts on that one. Final quick news story. Synth Riders celebrates the Super Bowl. Don't know what it is. What is it? 57? No, 59? Samson with your LIX?
Yeah, I think that's 59.
Yeah, it's 59, right? Since I celebrate Super Bowl 59 with Kendrick Lamar Experience on Apple Vision Pro. Obviously, it's an Apple Vision Pro thing, but it's a timed exclusive. So it's an only one experience. So it's with the song Humble. And it's just one of those classic Synth Riders experiences where you're kind of in a music video in a way, like a synthwave music video as you're doing it. There's no other songs on the track list or anything like that, which is a shame. It would be nice to have a few of the songs as well. But yeah, maybe like not like us as an experience.
It'd be pricey.
Yeah, it would be pricey to get that LED's license. But yeah, if you have Apple Vision Pro, obviously you can try it. With people like us who have Quests, we have to wait until later this year before that comes into the store. And Samson, that is everything. That is all the news. Let's wrap up part one. Let's wrap up part one here. And in part two, we're going to go into our main topic, which is everyone's favorite, Horizon Worlds. So we'll see you then.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part two, main topic of the show for LTO 173. Samson, this episode is called All Right Meta, We'll Give Horizon Worlds a Try. And that's exactly what we did. I was thinking of a topic for this week, and I was like, you know what? We've been complaining about it. It's always in our faces. It's everywhere. When you on the phone app, when you're trying to buy a game, when you log into the headset in the VR headset itself, and when you're trying to find something in the store, it'll suggest stuff. It's everywhere.
But Dan,
go on.
Apparently, if you uninstall it, it's nowhere.
Is that true?
That's what I've heard. I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, I didn't know you could uninstall Horizon Worlds, to be honest. Interesting. Okay, that's a theory I will try as soon as this is finished. So we tried it. We tried Horizon Worlds. I mean, I think both of us have been in it before in the past, like a while ago. But I think
not like this time.
Not like this time. No, I think the last time I went into it was I tried to create my own worlds, and this was when it first like kind of launched. But it was never pushed this much. Okay, I think this also was on Quest 2. So what we're going to talk about is the experiences that we had. I tried a bunch. Samson tried a bunch as well. We didn't try it together, so some of these are different as well. And then we'll talk about our overall thoughts, and we'll finally finish off with a very short would we recommend or would we go back in at the end. So, Samson, let's talk about the experiences we went into. Maybe do you want to start with a few that you wanted to mention? Let's say it this way. Do you want to start on the ones that you had a good time in?
Okay. I can do that. I'll start with Dream Leaper, made by Cluj Interactive. Dream Leaper played like a platformer, very linear platformer with branching paths. And you're essentially following coins. Each level has you on a mission where you need to find an item.
Mm-hmm.
And there are signs guiding you. But really, if you just follow the coins. And then there are certain things to... It's like two different books, and then it's some sort of gem, I think.
Yeah.
And you have to find 3 of the books each, and maybe 10 or more
the
of
scrolls
the gems
as well, I think.
Yeah, there might be another thing to find.
Yeah.
And so you got to jump around, figure out how to get around the map. There's usually teleports around, so you can get around faster. Mm-hmm. Music's pretty good. Sound design's pretty good. It makes a nice little coin sound when you collect each coin.
You get a cool umbrella as well.
You do have an umbrella to help you glide.
I thought it was like a staff to like hit people with, but until later on I realized it was to glide.
Merely to glide. And then at the end you get a score out of stars, and you hit certain milestones, and usually it gives you another milestone that has come on the next level.
Yeah.
And then the levels progress, and there are different worlds, so to say. So the scenery changes.
It's very polished. Like I tried this one too because you messaged me to try it, and until you just said it on the podcast, I did not realize it was done by Cluj. I thought it was just like some person who just made this world, and I was like, this is the most polished world that I've been in, and now it makes a lot more sense. It's a fun one. It's very basic, shall we say, but obviously a lot of these games are, and we'll get into that. But it's a fun, polished one to play. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah,
I had fun. I'll give a bit more. I sort of use this game as my through line of my final thoughts.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna hold that for then. But I'll talk about another world that I did enjoy.
Yeah.
And that was the Office world, Dan. So the Office world, you go in, there's some sort of video that tells you what's going on in this world, which is you essentially do tasks around the office to collect Shroot Bucks, which is a reference to the Office, and then you can buy things. I wasn't sure what to buy. There's things in the
you can buy like
vending machines,
and you can also buy office supplies at your desk.
But the best part of this was in the conference room. Dan, did you go into the conference room?
Yes, I did with the party.
Well, was it playing The Office?
It was playing The Office. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mine was playing like a party scene and such, but I guess maybe it was a little bit different.
I think it just plays The Office.
Oh, it just plays the episodes.
That's
fair. Maybe I just came in mid office and such. Fair enough.
That's what I think happens. I think you can just watch The Office there.
Now,
obviously, you don't have any control.
This is actually a licensed actual like game on Horizon Worlds, right? Like it's licensed by NBC Universal.
I think so.
As far as I'm aware.
So. Did you do any of the tasks, Dan?
No, I didn't do any tasks. No,
okay,
there were a lot of kids in there annoying me.
Oh, I did all private rooms.
I should have done that.
So one of the tasks was whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be on the computer screen because that's where you choose a task.
Yeah.
But instead, it just says whack-a-mole across the whole entire office.
Oh,
so you got to like run around. It was not great. I would much rather I'll hop into that world if you ever want to watch a little bit of the Random Office episode.
I thought it was
That's
really
about it.
cool though. As like a fan of The Office, I thought it was cool to go into the environment. Like I'd love like a Seinfeld set, and I could just
Yeah.
walk into Jerry's
Yeah.
apartment, that kind of thing, right? By the way, this game only came out last week. On
Really?
Horizon Ones, yeah, it came out on February 7th, 2025.
Okay.
So we kind of timed it
We're
right.
very current.
We're very, very current. But yeah, this felt incredibly polished as well, and now it makes sense because it's like a proper licensed world, and it's just a fun little thing that you can have in VR. It doesn't have to be a proper game or anything like that, but it's just like a fun little experience. And yeah, they could have maybe added more, but obviously they're constrained to what they can do in Horizon Worlds. But yeah, this was definitely a fun one to kind of go into, shall we say.
Yep. And then there was a third one that I did alone that I did also kind of like. That was it was the ESPN place. I forget the whole name of the place. The world.
I don't think I could have gone into that world. I didn't see it.
Yeah, and here's why I think because they were playing. I could watch highlights of these college football games, and you were on the side, like they were sideline views, and you would move around, kind of like the NBA, but finally for football. I've never experienced that for football before.
That's cool.
And here's the thing, Dan, in college football, it's like there's like 100 players on the team, right? Like anybody. And then there's sections of the on the field stand audience, so there's random people there. So in these situations, it's such a unique perspective. I find myself just watching the fans, and I'm like, oh, do I see any famous people here? That's
I see that.
But it's such a cool way. I wish, Dan, I think every episode, I think I should just ask Meta to please get more sports licenses. By the way, I tried to watch the NBA the other day in X Stadium, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't figure out. I couldn't, like, it was not being pushed to my face. I got in the app, but I couldn't find the game.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because they have other stuff in there as well, right? So
yeah, all I could find were highlights everywhere.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
next time there's a game, I'm going to check again.
I think that might be just for the States because I don't think I saw it, which makes sense with the college football. But I did try NBA Arena, and I think actually out of all the things I did, and we'll get into all of them, but that was my favorite one. So I actually never tried that one. I've done X Stadium before, even though X Stadium is just for the States, but obviously with a VPN, you can actually get by it and kind of watch it. But they had Cleveland versus Minnesota, which was on Monday night, I think it was when I tried it. Yes, Monday night game. I didn't realize it was live. But
does it have the 180 or is it just on like a big screen?
It's kind of just in a big screen. You're on like a floating platform in a way, but it works actually really well. I really enjoyed it. The clarity was very clear. It wasn't super sharp, but it was good enough.
So do you feel like you're courtside?
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like I was courtside, and then it will change views. Like if it's a free throw, then you'll go behind the net, and then it will change back to courtside. But then you can sit right at the front, but then you can go to the back, and I think the audio kind of changes. So if you sat at the front, you just get like court audio, and people next to you, if you want to talk to them, you can. But if you sit into the like audience stands, it's like half and half, I think, where like you get a bit of audio, but it's more like talking with the fans. And then you got a VIP room, which you can go in an elevator and go to the top, where you just get a bit of a higher view, which I actually preferred in the end, just a little bit higher. And that's also similar kind of audio wise, but there's games in there as well. Like,
wait, so this was the 10th. This was yesterday.
This was yesterday of recording.
I think that must be it, because I tried it on the 8th, and it must not be in X Stadium anymore. It must be in
the venues. Yeah.
Okay.
It was wicked though. I had a great time to watch. Like, I actually went to the Toronto Raptors versus Chicago Bulls game just a week or so ago. Was it a week ago? Maybe 2 weeks ago now, actually. And that was actually the first NBA game I've ever been to. It's one American. Yeah, it's the one like main American sport that I actually never. Because when I was living in Vancouver, they didn't have a team because they went to the Memphis Grizzlies ages ago. So it was actually the first game, but we were sat so high up in the nosebleeds because tickets were quite expensive. So we sat right at the top, but it was still fine because the arena is not that big and you could see it, which was cool. But watching it in VR courtside was actually almost the same as in terms of how well it was done, and it was cool to watch. And they do like with venues, you can go in there and there's a few featured games. So there's like, even this week, there's a game on this Saturday that you can watch for free and such. You don't need NBA League Pass and that such, but really, really cool. Like, obviously,
I think the next one is February 22nd and then the 24th.
Yeah, nice. So just really cool. I don't think they actually, no, I think you can also watch the All-Star game, which is
Oh yeah, I did see there's an All-Star game event going on.
yeah, so you can watch the All-Star game, and you can watch the Slam Dunk and all that stuff on Saturday as well if you wanted to in VR. I'm pretty sure it's on Saturday as well, but I'm not sure if it's just the game on Sunday. But you could watch it in there, which is really cool. So that was a big plus. If I was to go back into Horizon again, this would probably be the only way. And I'm not much of an NBA fan anymore. Like, I was a big fan, but the Chicago Bulls had a rough last 10 years, to be honest. But
yeah, I don't honestly watch that many sports. The Super Bowl is a special occasion, I'd say.
Fair enough. But yeah, it'd still be really cool. I think the NBA is a great one. I hope they can get the NHL or something like that in there, which would be fun. But yeah,
there's some highlights in X Stadium for the NHL.
There is
it
highlights.
Is cool. Because you're so close to the action.
Yeah, and NHL is so expensive to go to normally, so it's hard to get into like the 100.
That's why we need football, Dan.
True.
Dan, a family of 4 used to be able to get four tickets and go to the game for $150 in the 90s, and now that's $600 according to a YouTube video I watched this week.
Yeah, I try to go to a Bills game. I didn't try that hard, to be honest, but I just thought it was a bit too expensive for I just moved. The
Bills
to Toronto,
are good
right?
too.
Yeah, the Bills are great. So I'll try next. I'll try next season for sure. But they're all like.
What you got to do is you got to try to go to the Browns.
The Browns, I don't know. It seems like pretty boring to go to the Browns, to be honest.
But it'd be cheaper.
It'd be much cheaper, yeah. I've been to Seattle. I saw Seattle play.
Okay.
But anyway, we're getting more into sports talk. But anyway, that was really cool. But sticking on venues for a second, I also did the Red Rocks concerts. I thought they were okay.
I did that too.
I wouldn't do it.
Grainy.
Yeah,
it's not high quality.
My stream was grainy, but then it got a little bit better, but it still wasn't great. It's not as good as like if you did the Sabrina Carpenter one, but you just did it as like an actual on the Oculus TV, which I think that's what it's still called. It looks way better in there, but
because you can sync it.
Yeah, it looks way better in there, but in the venues for the concerts, I like the idea of a concert. I think I'd have better time watching like a comedy show with people or something like that, but didn't love it. It was okay. It
was below okay for me, I'd say.
Yeah,
unless you're a very big fan of the artist, avoid it.
Any other worlds that you wanted to maybe highlight? I've got a couple more.
So I hop into a bunch of worlds with no friend of the show, Noble Squashy, and I did enjoy
Patreon of the show. Shall we just say?
Yes. Now it feels weird because now he's a subscriber, but it's not weird. I digress. Pizza Kitchen played like Overcooked. Okay. And I had fun for what it was. I was enjoying myself. I would have stayed in a little longer. Squash wanted to move along, which was understandable.
Fair enough.
Fire and Rescue. Wait, I'm talking about ones I liked.
I guess it's not Fire and Rescue.
Yeah, Dan, I think that's it.
That's it? Oh my gosh. Okay, you have way more on the list. Anyway, I'll go to a few ones that I kind of like the idea of. Squid Game's Glass Bridge was kind of fun. They kind of did it well, and you've got the Glass Bridge, which has like probably about 24 to 30 panels, and you just got to jump, and every time you fall down you got to respawn and start again, but then also the glass respawns and then it kind of changes, so you're guessing each time. But if you get to the end, which I never got to, you get into this VIP. You try it. You get into this like VIP area, but then a bunch of kids came and everyone was shouting, "I want to go first! I want to go first!" I just muted my mic. I was like, I know this is meant to be social, but I feel weird if I'm just talking to them.
I tried to get into that world and it
Yeah.
crashed on me twice.
Oh, okay, interesting. I actually went in twice and it was fine both times. So yeah, that's a shame. But I thought I enjoyed that one. There's another Squid Games one called Squid RP Games. I couldn't actually get into. They're meant to have all the different type of games like red light, green light, and such, but I couldn't get into it because there's some clown kids with guns and they always shooting me every time I try and get into the game. So they always keep respawning back to the beds.
That's
So
funny.
just like the Office world though, because I've just
You needed a private room.
Yeah, I just watched season 2 of Squid Game, so it's fun to kind of be in that world just to see what it's like and such. But that's about it. It's like a little fun little novelty. Quick Draw was a fun one. A Quick Draw is a western, so basically you're all
one-on-one.
Yeah, it's one-on-one. So basically, you've got the shall we say road in the middle of the western streets, and all of the players basically are all watching, but we can't go onto the road. Like you're like stopped at an area, but you can all watch the draw happen. And it basically there's 2 players, but then after it finishes, then it randomly spawns another 2 players from the actual people who are waiting. So I got spawned I think twice or 3 times, and I killed them 3 times, 3 out of 3. I was a quick draw. I got the grip button straight away, and I went bang bang, and then I was a quick fire in the west.
Were they children?
Maybe.
So this one they were quiet,
but I don't know. Some of them weren't really speaking. Actually, I think there was 1 or 2 people speaking, and there was about 15 people in that room. So that's actually one that I actually enjoyed, probably maybe the most in terms of a game. Quick draw was a fun one. And then a lukewarm one. I like the idea of Saber. Saber's kind of similar, where you've got all the people in the middle and you're holding a lightsaber, and randomly spawns you onto the map, and which is like on lava. And then you have to so everyone's got a lightsaber, but it's random whose lightsaber erects. I don't know. I don't like the idea of that, but it randomly comes up.
How many people were in this world?
It's like, so I don't know. I think you can have as many as you want, but in terms of spawning onto the platform, there's only 6 at a time, I think. And then, so let's say I get the lightsaber, I need to chase the other people to try and like hit them with a lightsaber. But then after a certain set of time, so I think I have like 10 seconds to do it or 15 seconds. My lightsaber goes off and then someone else's lightsaber comes on. So now they're attacking. But then also the platform below you, because it's on lava, starts to disappear. So the platform gets smaller and smaller as well. I like the idea of it. It's a bit rough around the edges, but it is actually
to say the least. Because Dan, I played that one, but I only played it 1-on-1 against Noble Squashy. And so we were really confused because sometimes one person would get the lightsaber back to back, and we were like, "Why won't it just exchange?"
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, so
that is a fun one with a bunch of people.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay. When I say fun one, it's not a game like, I would pay for this. It's just a silly little tiny thing that's on Horizon. Like, Horizon standards, I think that was it. That one, like, and Quick Draw are probably my 2 fun, silly things that I played.
Yeah. I'll admit, I had fun in my short time in it.
Fair enough.
I guess that brings me to Uno, Dan. I'm going to swoop in here because the Uno world called Runout was Uno.
Oh, cool.
So if you do Uno, you're good. So this, I played against Noble Squashy, but it looked like you could get like 10 people in. So there you go. That would be a cool one.
Run out Uno. Yeah, that might be a good one. Maybe that's one to try with the listeners in the Discord. Potentially. And I see your face.
I think I might uninstall
it. Okay, let's go into stuff that we played that we didn't like. I actually didn't play too many that I didn't like. So the bunch of them I did enjoy, but it wasn't. When I say enjoy, I'm talking like it's a 4 out of 10 experience, if that. To be honest, the NBA one was the only one that I was like, oh hell yeah, this is like 8 out of 10 or so. All the other ones that I've mentioned, even though if I liked them, they're all still like 4, 3, maybe 2 out of 10 in a way. But Trail Riders, this is one where you can just go on a bike and you can. It sounds fun and do tricks and such, but it just doesn't.
How do you ride?
Well. you kind of ride with your either stick. Yeah, you ride with the stick, but you think you're gonna use the left stick, I think, to ride, but then it uses the right, and it throws me off. And I don't know, I got flipped over, and I landed underneath a truck, and I moved on. And then I also tried Squid Game. Yeah, not that one. I tried Horizon Worlds in the mobile app. I hadn't, and then you messaged me about it, and I didn't realize that you could actually play these worlds on your phone through the Horizon Worlds app. So I did a bunch of them. Some of the ones that I mentioned actually. I played the Spider-Man one where you're like hopping across buildings and such. That was pretty bad, to be honest with you. But the only fun thing about it is the fact that you're now in third person with your avatar. That's the only fun kind of aspect of it. But aside from that, and plus with the touch controls, I don't think I'd like it. I know you can play these flat screen as well, but I don't think I would. Like, if I'm going to do any of these, I feel like I'd just do it in VR because I feel like it's a little bit better. And they're kind of made for it in a way. But yeah, they're all the experiences that I did. Samson, any ones that you want to mention that you didn't like?
Yeah, fire and rescue. So you're tasked with your firemen. So obviously you have what firemen have. You have a squirt gun, and it shoots the most pitiful squirt of water on the most ridiculously silly looking fire. You know the meme where it's a dog sitting in the burning room?
Fire
This
everywhere.
is fine. Yeah, that's sort of what the fire reminds me of. And it was glitching out, right? This fire just floating in the air. We can't shoot it. It came down to Squash just went in the room. I would Squash so that he stayed not on fire, and he would take care of the room. And that was our strategy for the one room we cleared.
Mm.
And that was enough of that. We got into a spin the bottle world. Not for me. It is what it is. It's a bottle spins. It's Russian roulette. And then you get a gun and you shoot it at somebody, and sometimes it kills them and sometimes it doesn't. And then
I saw that had a lot of likes, to be honest. That was like one of the most popular ones on there.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Continue.
And then we got into Hardy World Spades. This was I think this was the big casino area where you could play various card games. And there was a lot of people in there. It almost felt like the Poker Stars game,
right,
just in this. So I personally probably would just prefer to play Poker Stars. But if you're looking for that, Hardy World Spades, get right in there. Turf Wars. So before Turf Wars even booted up, it's loading in, and I'm saying to Squashy, "Oh, Turf Wars, that makes me think of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas." And then boom, it's all just looks like San Andreas.
No way.
but if San Andreas existed on the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, a very old platform.
But
it wasn't great to play either.
No, it's terrible. You're going around and you're shooting a gun kind of at everybody around. That's it. It felt like exactly what I just described.
That's fair enough.
It was not great.
Did you play these on mobile as well?
No, all of these I played in VR. The only one I tried to play in mobile, I actually didn't put in here being the script. It was the Rumble, the Super Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, Dan, I'm too boomer to be able to play a shooter on my touchscreen phone.
Yeah, I can't do it either. I really can't. I've tried it. I tried the Call of Duty when it came out on phone, and I was like, I just can't do this.
Yeah. So ultimately, the only place I feel like I'd want to go back alone is the ESPN place to watch some random sports highlights from unique perspectives.
It's like me with NBA, to be honest. That's
it. Oh yeah, and the NBA venues. Apparently, that's where I have to go to watch those now. So that's good to know. Should I just go into my overall thoughts here, Dan? Naturally.
Well, let me go into my overall thoughts really quickly first, because it's a shorter one.
Okay.
My overall thought was it's worse than I realized is what I thought. I don't understand why they're pushing it so much when it's currently in this state. I'll understand if they had more like worlds that maybe they produced to show like showcase of what you can do in there, and there's like some good stuff in here. But even the ones that they've produced, like the venues, for example, with the concerts, like they're not great. They actually look really bad. Red Rocks is cool when you first go in because you're like, oh, I'm kind of on the set of the place, but then you realize that this is just it's not that great. It's very poor in terms of like design, and also when the stream's on, it's really bad, and it's really weird because it's so zoomed in on the stream as well. It doesn't feel like you're at the concert. So what I thought of real quick here, Samson, wouldn't it be a good idea? And this, I don't know if this is a good idea or just like maybe a slight more improvement on what it is, but maybe for the concerts, you could have like, it would be cool if, let's say, we've got, what was it, Red Rocks, Shawn Mendes, for example, who actually just lives across the street from me, which is kind of funny. It's just really odd, but he's just almost waved to him. Anyway, he was at the Red Rocks, and you can kind of watch him, and he was performing on his guitar and such. And I thought it would be much cooler if you maybe have that stream in the background. Maybe it's not so big, and maybe there's smaller kind of areas. But let's say it just portals you into the full Red Rocks kind of venue like you would be in, okay? And then you've got the stage. But the stage is built in VR, and as with 3D models. And then you have like a little Shawn Mendes kind of avatar doing the concert. So it's like everything is virtual.
I don't understand, Dan.
Like everything is virtual, like everything. So like,
so you don't want to be at the real you don't want to see the real concert.
Well, you can maybe like you got the screens in the concert venue which have like the real concert, but then in front of you you've got like the VR version of the concert. So what I'm saying with VR version, I'm saying like the 3D model of like Shawn Mendes with the guitar and band, and
you'd watch that?
all of your models. I don't think I'd watch it, no, but I'm just saying that might be better than just having a big ass screen and a few random Red Rocks, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, that's fair.
You know, or like you build the venue and you make like a little bit of a hologram kind of version of that, if that's possible.
It'll just honestly, it would be way better just like fork. It just needs to get better high def. It just needs better cameras. It's just, that's where it takes me out of that the most, is that I'm looking at the most pixelated thing ever.
It's no fun. It's not. You don't enjoy it at all. Okay, Samson, tell me about your overall thoughts of Horizon Worlds.
Okay, Dan. Well, over the last week or so, we spent 3+ hours in Meta Horizon Worlds. What a name that is. And overall, it is not very good. Lots of absolute shit. And worse than most VR chat worlds that I have been to, or at least far from the highs, right? I've been to some bad VR chat worlds. I will admit those exist for sure. It's kind of scary to think that in order for Meta to be a success for Boz and their long-term plans to be fruitful, that they need this to be a hit. It's kind of crazy, true. Dan.
Yeah, from the leaked memo and such that came out. Yeah, we didn't really talk about that, but yeah.
And so I mentioned Dream Leaper earlier, which I had fun in. Yeah, it hooked me a bit, and it's sort of how I ultimately realized what I'm about to say. Because that's when it hit me that I'm really just playing a mobile game in VR. The whole thing's trying to get my brain to tell me just one more thing to collect, one more level. I got to get to that reward. For example, the levels all start by showing you a cosmetic that you're going to unlock by completing that level.
Yeah.
Then, so right off the bat, your brain's like, you got to finish the level to get that reward. The sound design of the coins, that's just dopamine. There's so many coins, and they're so easy to collect. Then you're just like all the collecting of things, right? Yeah. People love collecting things. And then the star rating at the end, where they leave the one reward that's blank that is only that you're gonna get in the next level to be like, oh, you gotta get that in the next level. And ultimately, I don't really play mobile games, and thus I don't really see myself playing these games. I understand their purpose in that you need free to play games according to them, and so I understand why they exist. I don't understand why they're so bad, why there seems to be so few of them.
There is.
It's
there's not many.
Honestly, it's very hard to browse in both in the app that is now called Horizon. It's terrible. It's hard to see where the worlds I've been to. Sure, there's like a recent, but it's short. It's shorter. Yeah, you do have to favorite them. Then you're good. You're right about that. What if I don't like them, but I just want to remember? That's the real problem.
For a podcast, yeah, so you can talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really just bummed because it's not good. Does Boz use this app? That's my question. Because what do they want us to do in this app? Do they want us to be in these worlds? Do they want us to just be in the store browsing? Because honestly, I open the app, I know what I'm doing. I'm buying an app. I'm not usually the sales is when I spend the most time in because I got to look at the sale.
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. And then I use the gallery to save my screenshots and things of the sort.
And then
that's pretty much what I'm doing on there. Yeah. Or and they could improve on this experience greatly. When I'm showing off VR and I'm trying to boot people in, sometimes my library is not loading and then I can't load the app for them. Things like this. But that is another time I use it, or for streaming to the Apple TV
on the phone.
From the phone.
Yeah. It's what I would say with that, and it's a very good little summary there, but just to add to it, a lot of people, especially like Quest haters, shall we say that the Quest is like mobile VR and it's kind of ruining VR and all that stuff. You know, people on the internet, whatever they say, which is definitely not true. And they say the lack of PC VR is what's hurting, and that's what PC VR should be the one to push, like VR and such, and so on and so forth. And they're comparing PC VR to be like your classic games, like what you would have on the PlayStation, for example, and the Quest being this is your classic like mobile games that you can get on the phone and such. And I think that's not correct. I think Horizon is, like you said, like it's just mobile games basically, and it's not your, like, I know like the iPhone 16 and 15 can play big games like Assassin's Creed now and such, but they're like outliers. But we're talking like the classic mobile games that have existed and are still on most people's phones. Not many people have got the 16 or the 15 that can play something like that yet. Okay. But so when you're talking about mobile games, you're talking like the Candy Crush kind of games, those kind of things, right? They have its place for sure. But I think when people are comparing what the Quest library is, I would say that's more like a handheld gaming console, and a PC VR is more like a proper console, and then sometimes on a handheld, you get some big blockbuster titles like something like Batman and such, right? And it works well. Maybe there's some like constraints and such which they've had to done for the system, and that's fair enough, but it kind of works well, and you have like some really good games. So I think the headset's more of like a handheld gaming console, and the PC VR is more like a standard console in a way. It's definitely not mobile. However, this is what Horizon Worlds are, and this is what they're pushing, so I understand that they're fueling the people who don't like the Quest and they're very anti-Quest and such when it comes with this Horizon Worlds. I don't mind that they're like, obviously it's their company and such, and they say that social VR is what they want to do, social first, and they want some free to play and multiplayer experiences and social hangouts. Absolutely, there's not really a problem.
I will give this credit. Like, I did most of this with a friend, right? But
yeah,
I feel like ideally you're with a larger group for some of these, right? Uno could be a fun night.
Yeah.
If you have a crew that you want to play Uno with, right?
Yeah.
But you could also do that in VR chat just as well. So
It is also really easy to jump between worlds as well. That's a really easy thing, and it's really quick to load.
Well, you weren't making private rooms, and there's a reason,
No,
because it takes an extra 2 steps.
That's fair enough. I just went in. I was on my own, so I went into public rooms over and over again. But yeah.
Oh, it's also very hard to tell when you're in VR. Squashy was on browser or on mobile, and I couldn't tell. Like, I had to wait. I wish I could filter all the worlds by mobile or not mobile, etc. He said on his that he could see them.
Tell him, yeah. On the mobile, it says mobile because that makes sense, right? But
for in VR, I had to invite him, and then it would tell me, no, he can't play. And then I had to be like, okay, I found a new world.
So find a new one. Yeah, that's yeah. But the only one thing, and the final thing kind of want to say on this is just the fact that I don't understand why they're pushing it so much when it's not ready and it's not built up well, and it's kind of more of a turnoff more than anything. So the final question that we said is like, would we recommend it to people or / go in it again? I think we've kind of answered this one. I would say I'd probably jump into NBA, and you would probably just jump into NBA or the ESPN place, and that's it.
Yeah, outside of trying to have an evening where, how many people can be in one room? Is it limited to 6 or 8, or does it?
I think it just depends on the app.
Yeah, okay. So if we had a night where we wanted 10 people to play Uno and we're all on Quest, sure, I could see myself hopping in again. Other than that, pretty much no. Which is pretty much how I've been treating this app over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we gave it a try.
I will test out the deleting it.
Yeah, you tested it. I can't even delete any apps still yet. I know comments. I'm not sure if it was Matt who commented earlier in the show or someone else on the Spotify. I can't remember, but said that you can delete apps just fine. But I can't do that yet. So yeah, let me know if you can delete that. But anyway, Samson, that will do for part 2, which is our main topic. Obviously, let us know in the comments in the YouTube and on Spotify and in Discord if you go into Horizon Worlds, and if you do enjoy it, like, tell us what worlds that you do enjoy, because maybe we just didn't find some of the stuff that we like really enjoyed, because it is very difficult to kind of go through the store. It's not really well done, and it would be nice if they just gave you like a you could rank, like, you know, because there's a like system in there, right? And you can see the likes, but you can only see like what's popular today, but you can't really see like in general, like, let me just see what the top apps are so I can try the ones that are probably well curated. But yeah, let us know in the comments, let us know in Discord or such, and we'll read it out for sure. But anyway, that will do for part 2. And part 3, we'll wrap the show up with a bit of what we've been playing and some games out this week. So we'll see you then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/letstalkoculus. Back to the show. Welcome back to part 3, what we've been playing and games out this week. Samson, I actually haven't played anything this week apart from the Horizon World stuff. So the floor is yours. This is your part. Apart from, I do want to mention that I've been addicted to Celeste. I know that game came out ages ago, but I had it on my Steam Deck for a while, and I've been putting it off because I've been playing other things. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go into it, and now I'm hooked. I'm
Dan, it's hard. I always get stuck. I've never been it.
I think I'm on the 3rd mountain. As far as I remember, I can't remember exactly. It's the mountain where, like, basically, you're going into this hotel room essentially, and there's like books everywhere and whatnot. I love this game. It's amazing. I can see why I got 10 out of 10, and I wish I played it sooner, but I'm playing it now. So that's all I can say, is that I've been playing Celeste on flat screen. But Samson, what actual VR stuff have you been playing?
Well, Dan, there's another Friday night, so I played Breachers, but also Saturday. I got back-to-back nights of Breachers with my B-Haptics vest and my B-Haptics armbands. Breachers being a 5-on-5 tactical shooter. There you have it.
Yep.
Now, you've never heard this before. And there were a couple cool moments, Dan, because one of the levels, my team started as the attacking team, and we lost every round.
Oh boy!
So then you switch sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're 0-6.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
But defending is kind of easier. If you,
Yeah, it sounds like it.
because it's a smaller area, right?
Yeah.
And actually, our team came back and we tied it 6-6.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
then there's overtime now.
Yeah.
And since we won the last round, we got to pick to be defending in overtime, and we won.
Oh wow, well played. I thought when you said you went from you were 3, you nothing to 3, and then nothing to 6. I thought that was because you were also defending, and then you lost 3 defending, lost 3 attacking.
No, it switches every 6.
Every 6, got it. Okay, that makes more sense then. Wow, very good. That's very satisfying. Very satisfying.
Yeah, that was a good one. And oh man, just feels so good with the B haptics. You know exactly where you're getting hit. And one of my favorite things to do is when the round's over, I have the grenade that does fire, incendiary. Incendiary, that's a tough word, Dan. Anyway, when you go and you stand in it with the B haptics, it just goes.
Yeah. Oh,
so cool. It's a fun way
really
to end.
cool.
Yeah, and then you don't care. It gets there's no dying, right?
Which haptics vest have you got again? Is it the 40?
Yeah, I got the 40.
Nice.
Then I got into some Quake 3. Our group grew a little bit. We started off with 5, then we got up to, I think we had 7 people in the room at some point. Live open mic joined us. And Quake 3, it's just so much fun, Dan. It's so fast paced.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. And the map is small though, right? The maps are
some of the maps are smaller or bigger than they range in size, and some of them jump pads, so you're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, I remember that.
Bing bam boom.
Long. Might have to join you, Samson. Might have to join you.
Quake 3.
I was addicted
February
to
15th.
that game as a teen or preteen. I can't remember.
I never played it.
No, on CD-ROM, and it was that and Football Manager, which is obviously soccer for you guys.
It was that old back then. Had that?
Yeah. Like they've had that since the 90s.
I used to play. I was an Unreal Tournament guy.
Oh, fair. Okay, I never played Unreal Tournament, but I know that came as well. I still
monster kill. Anyway, Dan, moving right along.
Yeah.
I wish Quake 3 came to store because the friction of having to go through side quests, I know, is keeping some people.
So, what do you like for the people who have not done a Team Beef port? What are the steps? Can you quickly outline them, or like
the steps?
Cliff Notes?
Steps I did. I feel like it's been updated since I did it, and I'm old school with my side quests. Some people have put side quests onto their Quest 3, so they don't need the PC anymore, right? I'm a fan of plugging my quest into my PC. I understand it's just a hard drive. I move the things into the folders. Bing, bam, boom. I'm playing Quake 3. But really, you can, if you just Google Quake 3 Quest, it'll take you to their website and there's directions and all that jazz.
Fair enough. Okay.
You can play the demo, but you're limited to the demo servers.
Yeah.
So really, just the game goes on sale 6 times a year, basically on Steam. By then, it'll be about $5. I think it usually goes on sale for. So
it's a key thing that I think a lot of people miss. Like you need to own the game, right, for it to work.
Yeah. Well, you can, like I said, you can play some of the demo levels.
Some of the demo, but for like the proper,
to play the whole thing, though, you need to own the game.
Nice.
Then I got into some rec room with live open mic, but I left quite quickly because I had to go. No, I didn't have to go. They wanted to play a quest that was we had too many people in the room.
Oh, I see.
So I bailed. But then later on, somebody said a quite racist remark to Mike. So I just wanted to make mention of be kind out there and call people out on their bullshit.
Yeah, that was on Twitch as well. He was streaming it, right?
Yeah.
They put it on the Discord, but
quite unfortunate.
It's sad to see. It happens way too often, but I don't know. I don't go into enough social VR now, apart from this Horizon Worlds time, to kind of like try and witness it. But
well, it's definitely not limited to VR.
No,
if you see it, say something.
For sure.
And then I got into there's this New York Times cooking thing that I saw. I think I saw it in the when we were looking for Horizon Worlds in the app, and I just saw like, oh, what is this? And then I could sync it to the Quest, so it was pretty high def, and it's not VR, so to say. It's more stereoscopic.
It's a
Like
documentary.
it looks 3D. It's just a guy does like a restaurant review essentially.
Oh, I see.
And it's like 7 or 8 minutes long, and
Hmm.
it's if you're into that, I recommend spending 7 or 8 minutes watching it.
Yeah, for some reason I type it in on Google and I can't find it, which is really weird. Is it called like New York Times cooking, or is it there's like a specific name
Well,
for it?
oh, hold on a sec, Dan. I'll get you the name.
All right, Samson's gonna live call this.
No, I gotta just grab my phone real quick.
Okay. Whilst he's gone and tries to find that, I think this week, since my arm is still in pain and I can't really lift it, I think I'm going to try some seeded games in particular, and maybe call out some seeded games next week. So if anyone has got any recommendations for seeded games, please let me know in the comments and such, and yeah, we'll go through it next week. Yeah, go on.
It's called Story of a Restaurant.
Okay, that's why I couldn't find it. Story of a Restaurant. Oh, I actually did see this. I think I saw
The New York
this
Times takes you on an immersive journey through one of New York's great meals. At the Michelin star restaurant, Torrisi Sam Sifton takes us on a tour of 3 dishes, tracing their culinary influences and origin stories through the streets of New York. The flavors, Jamaican jerk spices, pickling brine, Cantonese aromatics, and more tell a tale of a city, its food, and its people. Pull up a chair.
I like that. Yeah, I'll probably have a look at that too. I see some reviews, Samson. People say it's not really immersive and the quality's not the best. But did you have
Well,
that?
didn't
kind
I
of
tell you? Didn't I tell you it's not immersive?
Well,
It's
you
like
did
a
tell me
video.
that. Yeah, you just said that. But was the quality okay though?
Yeah, but I did download it. I
I
didn't
see.
just stream it.
Yeah. Okay, so that should be fine. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
And then Flat Dan, I guess I started a little bit of Dead Cells, and boy, oh boy,
Nice.
am I bad.
Yeah, Dead Cells is hard. I did that was one game I did actually play. I had it on the Switch, I think. And yeah, I love the art though. Jesus Christ, it's
Yeah,
a
it looks
beautiful
cool.
game. It's a beautiful
was
game.
bad.
I always have a tough time in like the Metroidvania kind of games like that, but alas. All right, Samson, let's talk about the games out this week. I know you've been talking a lot, but let's be honest. You are the man on the show to read out descriptions. So yeah, take a sip of your drink. We only have one game coming out this week. It's a pretty big one. It was delayed in December, and yes, you're drinking your La Croix.
Yeah, we'll take sponsorship from La Croix because we'll take sponsorship from products I use.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, Samson, what is the game that's coming out this week?
This week, Alien Rogue Incursion Part 1 for 40 USD. Experience a universe of the Alien films like never before in terrifyingly immersive single-player VR. An all-new action horror entry into the classic franchise. Alien Rogue Incursion transforms you into Zula Hendricks, the ex-colonial marine hellbent on exposing Wayland Yutani's black site experiments on an extremely dangerous mission to the uncharted planet Purdon. With her synth companion Davis-01 for guidance, Zula must infiltrate the infested Gemini exoplanet Solutions research facility and survive the ever-present threat of the most cunning xenomorphs ever encountered, with both skilled stealth and serious firepower at her disposal. And when the threat she discovers has extinction-level consequences, Zula suddenly finds herself with humanity's fate on her shoulders.
Dun, 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 dun. Samson, I would absolutely love to play this game, but I know for a fact that I've seen the gameplay, I've seen the trailers. I cannot there's one specific type of alien that kind of looks like a spider.
It's not a spider, Dan.
It's not.
It's all fake.
It's not, but Jesus Christ, I could not have that crawling on my face in the VR headset, so I can't play this game. I saw it, and yeah, I would love to play it. I read some reviews on it from like random different outlets. GameCritics.com is one of them, and the first line from the review said, "It sounds perfect." That's the first thing I noticed, and you know, I love the sounds in that movie and such, and I love the atmosphere. And I'm still now and again still playing Alien Isolation on the Steam Deck. It's such a tense game that I've kind of disappeared off it a little bit at the moment. But they gave it a 9 out of 10. They absolutely loved it, and they said it only had one flaw, and the fact that it had a to be continued screen at the end. Because I think when they announced it, they didn't really say it was going to be 2 parts, but ended up saying it was just going to be part 1 eventually. So yeah, unfortunately not one that I can play because it's going to kill me anyway. So
Dan,
but yeah,
I do just want to add that the ESPN world was called ESPN Tailgate, and apparently it came out on February 5th.
Oh, so all these new worlds, like with
the best
right
ones
time,
are the new ones. Yeah,
right time to jump in. That's fair enough. Are you going to play Alien Rogue Incursion? I know you're going to.
I've got it on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play it on the Quest for sure.
That's fair. Are you going to play it anyway? Just to
maybe eventually I'll hop in. Dan, I'm so far behind on everything.
Yeah, fair enough.
Single player. I struggle with single player. Like I said, I think I've just realized I'm not a single player gamer. I love the idea of them. I like hopping into the worlds for a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm a gamer. I'm a social guy.
Yeah. Not Horizon World social guy, but
no, I'd rather be in anything else.
Anything else. And that's actually a perfect way to end the podcast, Samson. This is our podcast where we tried Horizon Worlds. We gave it the old college try. We gave it a go. And yeah, it is exactly what we expected. Exactly.
Maybe we'll give it another go in another 170 episodes.
Yeah, probably. Or we may have all switched to Steam Decades by then. Who's to say? All right, that'll do for this podcast. Thanks for everyone for listening and watching. As always, join us on the Discord, as mentioned. Throw us $1 at Patreon if you want to. Join us on the Walkabout nights every Thursday. Come on down in the Discord. You can say you're interested. Samson will post the room code in there, 7 p.m. Eastern. And if there's enough, interest as well, and there's people on the West Coast or different time zones, maybe we can try and do another one at a different time potentially. But
or even 2 rooms at the same time. That'd be crazy.
Even 2.
Imagine if we had 15 people show up.
Yeah, exactly. There's too many people for me. Put me in the small room, I say.
Well, then it would be 8 and 7. It's not really a small room.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But anyway, that'll do for our podcast episode. As always, I've been Dan. Samson.
I've been Samson.
Yeah.
Here and there.
There you go. I think you're embracing that term. Anyway.
I don't like it. It doesn't feel natural. I've never found a good ending.
Fair enough. There we go. We're rolling with that. All right. We'll see you next week.